Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate...
When you have nothing valuable to add, you just keep talking and talking. It's an endless stream of words with no real substance. That's exactly what happens on The View, a show that seems out of touch with most Americans. The voters aren't siding with the panel's out-of-reach opinions, yet they keep pushing the same tired narrative. For years, Whoopi Goldberg ruled The View like a queen, shutting down guests, steamrolling over opposing viewpoints, and treating her opinions as absolute fact. But in a shocking twist, her iron grip on daytime television took a major hit, thanks to Karoline Leavitt. No one saw it coming. The episode started like any other: smug laughter, dismissive eye roll, and a panel in lockstep with its usual left-leaning agenda. But then, everything changed.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing. She worked in the previous Trump administration.
As confident as ever, leaned back, ready to steer yet another conversation. Then came the topic of wokeness, a term The View treats like sacred ground. They defend as if their entire identity depends on it. And honestly, it kind of does. Feeling untouchable, Whoopi took the first swing. Flashing her signature smirk, she turned to Karoline and declared, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." The energy in the room, the audience stiffened, sensing the tension. Even Joy Behar, who's made a career out of mocking conservatives, squirmed.
I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel. Karoline, thank you very much for your time.
That was so good.
What Whoopi said next was exactly what you'd expect. Predictable and, honestly, exhausting. After all these years in the spotlight, you'd think she'd come up with something fresh. Here we are again. Same. Old script. Same tired rhetoric. Let's see what she throws out this.
In a statement afterwards, this young lady claimed her, quote, on-air snub proves that you-know-who will not be treated fairly in the upcoming debate. Now, do you think this is going to make people doubt whether CNN can stay objective, or is this more the same of, everybody's against me, it's all rigged, I tell you. Is everything rigged?
No, it's their MO. That's what they do. Rachel Maddow said last week, she's like, if the election is lost, it was rigged. If there's a debate, then the moderators are probably biased and they're prejudiced against.
The tension in the room was electric. Everyone braced for what came next, and let's just say, Whoopi was not ready for the response she was about to get. This wasn't just a casual disagreement or a spirited debate. This was Whoopi Goldberg taking direct aim at Karoline Leavitt's entire career, her intelligence, and her work ethic, dismissing everything she had accomplished as nothing more than a byproduct of the very ideology she stood against. It was condescending, calculated, and meant to diminish her completely. Despite the clear insult, the audience clapped on cue, some even chuckling nervously. But beneath the surface, there was a shift, a subtle discomfort, like they knew. Whoopi had stepped over the line but weren't sure if they could admit it. Karoline, however, didn't flinch. She didn't rush to defend herself, scramble for a comeback, or look for an easy way out. Instead, she did something far more powerful, a slow, knowing smile that said, "Oh, you just made a big mistake." It wasn't smug or arrogant. It was the confidence of someone who had the facts, the receipts, and the composure to flip the entire exchange on its head. And that's exactly what she did. For the first time, the audience saw something different. Karoline didn't rely on opinions. She brought hard, undeniable data, government spending reports, cold numbers that couldn't be dismissed with a sarcastic remark or an eye roll. She laid out exactly how taxpayer money was being funneled into absurdly woke initiatives, gender studies programs in Guatemala, Sesame Street spin-offs designed to spread American social activism overseas, and countless other eyebrow-raising. With razor-sharp precision, she connected the dots, exposing how wokeness had evolved from a social movement into a political weapon, one used to silence, control, and punish those who
divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying that we are all a threat to democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
Karoline's ability to articulate her points with such clarity is almost mesmerizing. It's baffling, really. Rather than supporting a strong, intelligent woman, The hosts of The View chose to mock her instead. If nothing else, it speaks volumes about their true agenda. But let's see how this unfolds. Something tells me Karoline isn't done dropping truth bombs just yet, and this time, they won't be so easy to brush off.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS.
The woman who had built her career on dominating conversations, steamrolling conservative voices, and dodging uncomfortable truths was suddenly on the defensive. Whoopi shifted in her seat, the usual smirk nowhere to be found. Her hands fidgeted, searching for something, anything, to anchor herself. She was used to guests stumbling over their words, struggling to keep up with her rapid-fire comebacks, but this time, the dynamic had flipped. No matter how much she wanted to regain control, she couldn't. Karoline wasn't giving her the opening. For the first time in ages, it was obvious to everyone watching. Whoopi Goldberg had backed herself into a corner, and there was no easy way out. She opened her mouth, then shut it, tried again. Still nothing. The words just wouldn't come. The audience, usually quick to rally behind her with cheers or laughter, sat frozen in awkward silence. Even the most devoted fans of The View didn't know how to react. The energy in the room had shifted, and, for once, no one was sure whether they should clap, chuckle, or just sit in stunned anticipation, waiting for Whoopi to say something, anything, to regain control. Even the camera crew hesitated. Should they zoom in on her stunned expression, capturing the exact moment she realized she had trapped herself, or cut to commercial and pray the audience wouldn't notice? Always quick with a snide remark or a dismissive wave of the hand, sat frozen. She had walked straight into a trap, and there was no easy escape. And here's the real question Karoline had just exposed. If wokeness is really about diversity and inclusion, then why are conservative women the ones being attacked? Why do those who preach tolerance turn hostile when confronted with someone who doesn't fit their mold?